Hello, my beautiful people. These are all my thoughts and opinions based on public information out there. Please do your own research, and also if you have facts that you can share, or if I don't get it all right, please remember I don't do this for a living. I am actually a farmer. So yeah, but if you want to share information that or correct me, feel free to do so. Also, and absolutely, this is for entertainment purposes only. I wanted to do this video. This is on the McCanns because after I did that video, I got quite a few emails. And especially I got this email from this lady. She is at that time she was living in council. I think they call it council housing in the UK, and she had 3 kids, ages 7 going on 8, and 4 going on 5. She had, and then another one of, I think it was 2.5 at the time when the incident happened. This was about 5 years ago. And she told me that she had to run to the store, and she left her 3 kids at the time. Please bear in mind, one was 7, the other one was 4, and the other one was 2. They were all in bed. And she had to run to the store because she ran out of milk and she needed to buy a couple more things for, to prepare her kids for school the next day. The store, the grocery store that she went to, not a grocery, like a little, those stores that sell little things like lottery and stuff like that, and they have milk and stuff, was less than about, and this is from what she told me, she actually showed me in the map where it was. It was less than 30 meters away from her house. However, unfortunately, while she ran to buy the milk, some bread and stuff like that she needed to buy, her oldest kid, who was 7, woke up, and when she couldn't find her mom, she wandered out in the street. She was found by a neighbor and questioned, and they held the little girl, and somebody called the police, and all of this happened. She was gone for like less than 15-20 minutes, but when she was coming back, the little girl was outside, and she freaked out because the little girl was outside, and she was with the neighbors. But anyway, social services and the police came and took the children away because she left those 3 children to go to the grocery store. She explained she was coming with the groceries, the little groceries that she was having. And it took her she was charged with neglect, but because no harm came to the children, she was just like reprimanded or something like that. And then, but she lost her kids, and it took her almost 18 months to get the children back. Yeah. And she was telling me those were the most horrible, those 20 minutes because she was a single mom. The police showed her no mercy, and neither did social services. She had to go through endless stuff and suffering because her kids were not with her. And yet, we have not only the McCanns, but all the other doctors, because all the other people that were there, all their friends were doctors as well, right? Who abandoned their very young children every night to go out drinking, because that's what they were doing. Instead of holding, today we're going to do it at your apartment, or just don't do it. And nothing, because the correct procedure would have been for the 2 other children, first for the McCanns to be charged. I think it's called neglect with harmful, when something comes to harm with the child because of that neglect. I don't know if it's manslaughter, or something like that. But they are charged with a serious crime. They were in charge for that crime because of their neglect. It resulted on the little girl missing, according to them, because of that neglect. And the other 2 small children should have been taken as well. Yet nothing happened to them. The UK police, in fact, in my opinion, have hindered the investigation. And I know a lot of people are trying to compare the McCanns to the lady in Australia whose baby was eaten by a dingo. But this is not the case here. This is not the case here at all. The McCanns have lied. They have lied. because it's been proven that nobody messed up with that window. And then they changed the story. When the window story didn't pan out, they changed the story to something else. Now, they didn't call the police right away. They waited 40 minutes while all their friends got their stories together. And then called the press and then called the police. That was the order on which how things happened. They all, what's her name, claims that she ran out, to tell the others that the little girl was missing, leaving the other two even more vulnerable children exposed to danger. And then they all ran back and they all went into the room, trampled over everything, waited 40 minutes while they were getting their stories straight, because they all knew they were in trouble because they were all guilty of neglect. You know what I mean? It wasn't a medical emergency that they were outside. It wasn't something that they needed to do. They went to another country and abandoned their children in apartments in an environment that their children were not familiar with. And these are very vulnerable children because they wouldn't have known what to do. Especially at nighttime, I got to tell you something. With my kid, I went to Portugal. Portugal is beautiful, just like Cristiano Ronaldo. But anyways, it's not even a consideration for me to leave my child alone in another, as it was. I'm sorry for the lighting. Oh, by the way, the reason why I'm doing my videos indoors is because I receive a lot of emails saying that you guys don't like it when I go outside because you can't hear, it's distracting. So let me know what you think about that. But let me tell you something. There has only been one time when I went to Cuba, but that's the only time I flew without my kid. And I left them with my mom and my dad, because those were the only people. I wouldn't even trust my kid with the nannies or anything. Screw that. It's my kid we're talking about. So it was my mom. And I would call my mom every day from Cuba. Say, Mama, how's Henrik? And blah, blah, blah. Because, you're still thinking of your child. At least if you're a normal parent, you know what I mean? So yeah. So when the police, the UK police, in my opinion, are one of the main reasons why what happened to Madeleine has not been determined. They say that this guy in Germany, who's in jail in Germany, if I am wrong, I will apologize. And of course, I don't want to add to the burden that the kid was taken. A lot of people that write to me, they say, but Paula, don't you think that they live with that burden already? Well, if they had been responsible parents, and I'm sorry, that is what it really comes down to. If they had been responsible parents, it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened. Can you imagine? Because they admit themselves that the little girl said, I don't want you to go out. She was crying. She got up at night crying. And their response is, the neighbor. And this is the thing when I talk about the UK police, because they don't, in the media, they don't want to portray those things with Madeleine McCann, because the neighbor from upstairs said that the little girl had been crying the night before for almost 2 hours until they got home. The other two small children were not tested because they were completely out of it. They couldn't even be woken up. And the reason why the Portuguese police did not secure the premises was because they were too busy trying to find that little girl the first 24 hours. And they did everything correctly and went beyond the pale. And for people, the only little girl or the only child missing there has been Madeleine. Never one before or after, ever. So do you know what I'm trying to say? I think they are responsible. But the problem for me is that the reason why Madeleine has not been able to get any justice is the UK police. Their interference and hindering the investigation. You can see that there's a documentary, I think, about trying to find Madeleine. And this Scotland Yard investigator was assigned, and he was told, start investigating like years later, because this is ongoing forever, right? Years later, but you start with fresh eyes and you're going, but you cannot investigate the McCanns. I told you this before, but everything that he did and everything that he investigated would lead back to the McCanns. If the dogs hadn't barked, in the places where they did, it's just, and to me, the reason why, and also those tapas ate, they're lying. It is my humble opinion, they are lying. And it's sad that the UK police have not properly questioned them, because they all got together, those 40, a little bit over 40 minutes, to get their stories straight. And yet when they were interviewed separately, but the only time that they were interviewed, that they were allowed to be interviewed by the Portuguese police, they gave different stories. Came a can saying that Jerry had been only 30 seconds with that other friend, when the other friend said for at least for about half an hour. So they couldn't even get, and I mean, in cases like these, half an hour make a huge difference. You know what I mean? So what do you guys think? To me, those are just my opinions. And also, I don't base any of this on how they behaved. Yes, how they behaved. I mean, when they had that the 1 month that Madeleine had disappeared, and they went to Portugal, and they went to that mass, remember? They were walking like they were rock stars, laughing. I mean, I don't... And then in the book that Kate wrote, because she wrote a book, she's talking about this amazing risotto that they ate at the neighbors in Portugal that she never... I mean, who the hell is talking about? But I'm not going by what she's saying. I'm going about the inconsistencies in the story. The window was never broken into. We really don't know the time frame, because I really do believe that the tapas 8 are lying. I really believe, and this is just my opinion, that Kate didn't come at 8:30. I think something happened and one of them went over to cover up, or to keep appearances up. I don't think they were checking every half hour like they try to do, and the reason why they said that is because they knew they would get in trouble. So that timeline, if it ever gets broken down, they will find what happened to Madeleine. And if the UK, the Scotland Yard, had done their proper job, they would have found, or they would know what happened. Instead of trying to pin it on a German guy in jail in Germany by torturing him and get him to admit something that, when you're tortured for a long period of time and consistently, you will admit to anything. But these are just my thoughts and opinions. They should have been charged with bodily harm resulting from child neglect. They should have spent at least 2 years in jail, and the other 2 children should have been taken away from them, just like it happened to this lovely lady. But what do you guys think? Let me know.